Hey, 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 welcome back to another week of Dear Mama, You Got This podcast. I'm your host, Trinice, and I have to remember to say that because I did a couple other weeks and I did not give my name or nothing. Help me, y'all. But we have a brand new episode for you. Today we're going to talk about motherhood when you don't have a village and what that looks like. So I have my guest speaker. She's going to come on and do her thing, Miss Taisha Jack. Did I say that correctly?
Yes,
Oh,
you
high
did.
five me. Go me, go me, go me, go me, go me. So I also have an honor get this is a podcast about motherhood. So you may hear my son in the background. Don't worry, he's the honorary guest and my partner in crime. So let me start off by giving Miss Taisha an opportunity to greet you all her way, and then I'm gonna get right into it.
Hey, everybody. How are you today?
So let me start by just reading her bio. I feel like that gives viewers an opportunity to kind of get to know you a little bit better and know your history. So let's start there. Taisha Watson is a hear me now, licensed clinical social worker with 16 years of experience in the social work field. Taisha's educational background includes an associate degree in human services, mental health from the City University of New York LaGuardia Community College, a bachelor's degree in social work from the City University of New York College, and a master's degree in social work for Fordham University School of Social Work in New York. Taisha's extensive experience working with children and families within the childhood welfare system, foster care, adoption, and independent living. Teenagers, young adults, school social work, adult women who experience the criminal justice system, and providing therapy to young adult women who have experienced trauma, anxiety, and depression. Taisha's work and passion for social work is heavily rooted in her own lived experience as a teen in NYC's foster care system. She is honored and grateful to pursue her passion in the important human service field of social work, and strives to help her clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves. So I want you to know that I have family in LaGuardia. LaGuardia Airport, the airport they fly into, and they fly out of over there by Lincoln Park, 131st Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's my daddy and all of them over there.
Ah, okay. I was born and raised in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yes.
So let me ask if you wouldn't mind sharing your journey into motherhood and what that was like for you.
Oh, that's a loaded question. Okay, so as you stated, one point in time, I was a teen in foster care. I became pregnant while still in foster care. I got pregnant at the age of 18. That is the catalyst for me signing myself out of foster care because when I was a kid in foster care, when a teenager became pregnant, in order for her child to live with her, she had to place her child in foster care. That was not an option for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
I signed myself out, yes. And I went back to living with my mom. That was my, how can I say, and that's how I became a mom. Becoming a mom was very scary for me because of my situation, being in foster care, being 18, that was totally not the plan, but
All
I
right.
absolutely love my daughter. Becoming a mom was very traumatic for me. There was a fear that I was going to have postpartum depression, but I didn't, thank God. But traumatic because I was afraid of the type of mother I was going to be because of the examples I had. So there was a fear that I'm going to mess this child up, right? I'm going to ruin their childhood just because of the experiences I had in my childhood. But by the grace of God, thankfully, laying eyes on my daughter changed all of that for me. I made a promise to myself the day I had her that not only would I be a good mother to her, but I would be a better person for myself and for her. So, she's 31 now. Absolutely amazing. One of my BFFs. And she has.
You don't even look that old. I have a
Girl,
31-year-old
you.
daughter. I'm sorry. I need to put that in the atmosphere for you.
Thank you. Yes. She's 31. I turned 50 last year in September. Yes. Thank God. You know
Okay.
that saying, thank God I don't look like what I've been through.
I've been through. Listen, he'll do it. He'll
Yes,
do it for
boy.
you.
Okay. And I had 3 more kids after her. They are my greatest accomplishment. Being able to be a parent who was mentally stable and able to be present for my kids. Everybody talks about the degrees, the license, and all the things I've done, but my greatest accomplishment was being able to ensure that my childhood didn't touch my kids. So
Absolutely.
my children never experienced the child welfare system. I grew up with substance abuse, alcoholism around me. That is not my children's story. So I had to work very hard on myself to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that that wasn't my kid's story also, and I'm very proud of that. That's probably, if you were to ask me, that's my biggest accomplishment.
And that's major because as somebody who currently works in that field, I'm not a licensed social worker,
Yes.
although it's coming because I got my master's degree in
Okay.
it. Watch for me,
Okay.
watch for me.
Yes.
But you know, the norm is that if you're in a system, you kind of repeat the pattern, and then
Right. It's a cycle.
you put kids in a system, and it's kind of like continues. So it's
Yes.
amazing that you were able to say that's not going to be my story, which
Yes.
kind of leads me to my next question. What was your reality of motherhood versus your thoughts or your expectations? Like, did your expectations of motherhood match your reality? And did they change between children?
That's a good question, right? I would say so. I went in it with, I set very high expectations for myself. Just when I say that, I mean being a mom because of my own personal experience as a child, right? I wanted my kids to have all the things that I didn't have. I didn't want them to experience any of the things that I experienced. So I overcompensated
Okay.
for the things that I didn't have as a child. So I literally became the parent I needed as a child, right? So I was overly protective of my children. So expectation, I would say I put a lot of expectations on myself. Did it match what actually happened? Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. It got to a point where I had to realize that my kids are safe, right? They don't need the parent that I needed, right? Or I am the parent. I made sure my kids were safe. There were no food insecurities with them. I was the parent that was at every parent teacher conference, all the things. I had to be perfect. And that's the part where I feel like I messed up because there's no such thing as perfect, right? Even as
Absolutely.
parents, we make mistakes. I had to learn to give myself grace.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I say overcompensated, things that other people would think is minor wasn't minor for me. Like my kids had their own individual snacks in my house, right? I'm
Wow.
talking like their own boxes, individual boxes of cereal, any snack they wanted. Each one of them had their own individual snacks. And there were times where, let's say they ran out of chocolate chip cookies. That would have me so sad and like, oh, I'm failing as a mom because they don't have this in the house. I'm not saying they don't have food. They just don't necessarily have the snack they want. So I overcompensated a lot because of areas I lacked as a child. So I had to take a look at that. Therapy helped me a lot with that because I literally I took care of everyone else to the exclusion of myself, which is
Okay.
not
Yeah.
good, right? I had to actually take a step back and take a look at myself. And, it's okay if your kid doesn't have Oreos today, right? The
Right.
world is not going to come to an end because they don't have Oreos. But when you are a parent who has experienced your own trauma, those traumas show up
Absolutely.
as a parent, right? Having a child can trigger you. I know it triggered me, especially my first child. It was such a huge trigger for me. So I would say I set my expectations of being a parent too high because nobody's perfect.
So when would you say you were able to, again, this may depend upon your children, that you had a village or you had a strong support system or no?
It depended on the day, child. I'll be completely honest. So I say that because I am the oldest daughter,
Okay.
right? And our people, the oldest daughter is an honorary parent,
Absolutely. Listen, all day, every day.
right? You are parentified 2 times 10. So it was kind of like I was the village, right? So in addition to taking care of my children, I was also a kinship foster parent to my 3 younger sisters, right? So I was the village. I was the person who supported everybody else. So there was a time and point where, no, I didn't have a village. It was me doing everything for everybody. And then this amazing thing happened to me where I actually met my biological father when I was 30 and he became my village, right? And
Oh,
then, other people became my village, but part of the issue was I didn't ask for help, right? I had to keep it
mm.
together all the time. So asking for help was a huge struggle for me because I'm the one taking care of everybody. I'm the caregiver, right? So, that saying, check on your strong friends.
Listen, all day, every day.
If I had a dime for every time somebody told me how strong I was, I'd be a millionaire right now. So the village, I was the village. It took meeting my dad to realize that, I need help, right? It's okay to ask for help. So there were times where I didn't have a village. There were times where I did have a village. I would say though, having a village is very important. Having
Mhm.
support people in your life is very important. for me, like I said, being that I was the caregiver and I was the one always helping everybody else, it was hard for me to ask for help. It was also hard for me to trust people to help me,
Mm,
because every time I put myself out there for someone, they didn't show up. So for me, the message was people don't show up for you. So why ask? So, I
yeah.
just didn't
Yeah.
ask. Thankfully, after meeting my father, which was like a game changer for me, it literally changed my life. I started to realize that it's okay to ask for help, but choose safe people to ask for help, right? Safe people are those people you know are going to show up for you. No matter what you got going on, if you call them and you need something, they're going to show up for you. So I learned to lean on those people and allow those people to support me. So support is very important.
Would you, and I totally agree. I am the strong person. So
Yes.
I fully understand what all of that encompasses and what all of that means. And it's hard for me to ask for help because I'm the strong person, but
Mhm.
also because of the expectations I've put on my own self.
Yes.
And I feel like others have put on me and I've accepted, right? Like
Yes.
I'm not supposed to ever be upset. I'm not supposed to ever, have a bad day. Or if
Yes.
you call me and you need to be uplifted, I could be having the worst day, but I'm gonna find somehow,
Yes.
some way. And it creates this unrealistic way of living, and then you
Yes.
wind up being exhausted.
Yes.
So let me ask a question. When it comes to your village, would you say you had to learn how to create your
Yes.
own village as opposed to accepting those who by default was already in your village?
I would say it's a combination of the two, right? So I have, like I said, I had my three younger sisters who I was at one point kinship foster parent to, and there's an age gap between them and myself, right? So I'm 7 years older than one of my sisters, 8 years older than one, and 11 years older than the youngest one. So they were like preteen and teenagers when I got them, but as they got older, right, they would want to help, but I wouldn't let them help because no, that's my little sister, right? So it was a combination of me building my village and then by default allowing the people who are there to help me, right? And that part was kind of on me because I felt like I don't want to be a burden to them, right? Or this is not their responsibility, or I don't want to do to them what was done to me. So it was a combination of the two. Me learning to accept help, which was very difficult because no, what do you mean? I got this, right? That's the expectation because that's what literally I've had people say to me, I don't worry about you because you're so strong, right? Even my mom would say things like, you don't need me like your siblings do, right? I don't worry about you because you're the strongest one. And one time she said that to me, and I said to her, there were so many times where I wish you would have worried about me, right? Somebody, anybody would have worried about me because I was going through it. And you guys didn't know because I didn't say anything. Or I wish somebody would have asked me, how are you doing today? Right? Because I got to the point where people would ask me, how are you doing? And I would say, I'm fine. I wasn't, but I would say I was fine because nobody cared about how I was doing anyway, because everybody assumed Taisha has it all together, right? Taisha doesn't deal with anything because she just handles everything. No one is okay all the time, right? So
That part.
I had to learn to build my village while also allowing those people that are in my village by default to help me. And that was actually my sisters as they got older, because they would say to me, you never let us help you. And I would be like, you know what? I got it. But they would want to help. And it just didn't feel right to me. I felt like a burden. So no, I'm not going to let them help me. And then when they became adults, they were just like, we're going to help you whether you like it or not. So they would get the kids, take them out. Cause like my oldest daughter and my baby sister, they're like 8 years apart. So they were like sisters, and they would be like, oh, we got them. We taking them to the park. We going here, we going there, just to give me a break sometimes. But that, that piece where you ask for help, that was a struggle for me, even to this day. Like asking for help is like the last thing. It's a struggle, but I have gotten a lot better with it than I was.
Do you think that it makes you vulnerable to ask for help? Like I know for me, I feel like when even if I need it, like I know I need it, right? But because of the expectation that I've placed on myself, and because I know people be like, "Girl, I got you," and then they really ain't got you, or people ask how you doing and don't really wait for the response of how you're doing.
Right.
You learn how to just smile and nod and say I'm good when you're
Yeah.
really not good. And so what type of, I don't want to say trauma, but what type of negative results have you yielded or come through because you wouldn't ask for help? Or
Um,
have you experienced because you wouldn't ask for help?
Not asking for help has stressed me out. I used to get migraine headaches. So for me, it manifested physically, right? I would get migraine headaches. I was stressed out a lot. My hair fell out. Exhaustion was a state of mind for me, right? And that's not healthy for anybody. And when I say stressed out, like I'm talking stress to the point where I'm on the verge of, I feel like I'm about to have a nervous breakdown, right? So for me, it got to a point where it was kind of, I was forced to ask for help, right? Because my body shut down, right? Like you're doing too much. But it made me feel vulnerable. And I don't like feeling that way because of my childhood experiences. Asking help was a struggle because asking for help was a struggle because especially with adults, right? Because the adults in my life didn't show up when I needed them to. So I had to do it. I had to do everything on my own. Even being in foster care and being a parentified child, my foster mother would try to allow me to be a child. But when you've been parentified, it's kind of hard to go back to being quote unquote regular normal child. So sometimes she would be like, oh my God, you're so, you're too mature for your age. Like, stop doing that. And I don't know how to stop doing that because this is what I've done. And being vulnerable just doesn't feel like, it didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel good to me, right?
Well,
Because
no.
it didn't, right? Because I'm going to be vulnerable and you're going to disappoint me, right? And I don't want to do that, or I don't want to deal with that. So to avoid that, I'll just do it myself. I got it. I got everything. And into the expectation, after a while, you put the expectation on yourself to have it
Absolutely.
together, right? To be the
Absolutely.
strong one all the time. Because what else am I if not strong? I had to get to a point where I had to give myself permission to be vulnerable, right? You're
Right.
human. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask for help. And what does that look like, right? For me, it looked like picking those people, safe people, I call them, whom I know at any given time, if I need them, they're going to show up for me. I identified my safe people. Now, if I need something, if I need help, I go to those people. Those safe people are my husband, my sisters, and my dad. Like, my dad lives in South Carolina and I'm in Florida. If I call my dad and say I need him, he putting his car on the road and he coming to do whatever it is that I need him to do. My husband, when I say safe space, that is my safe space, right? If I know without question, if I need something, he got me. That wasn't always like that in the beginning. Let me say that. That is my disclaimer. In the beginning, I gave that man a hard time.
That would be a whole nother podcast for a
Okay.
whole another day. Just know you're coming back. Continue to
Okay.
talk.
That man has the patience of Job. When I say in the beginning, it was a lot. Like, I will say he had a lot of patience because I needed to see it consistently. You can't just tell me you're going to be there. I need to see it in action, live, like living color. Let's go. What you got? But it's still, even to this day, even with that, it's still uncomfortable for me sometimes to say I need something, or I'm not doing that great today. Today's a struggle for me. But yeah, it was a combination of a number of things. But the negative aspect of it, my body shut down, literally.
I know for me, motherhood, I think, was my girl. If you don't learn how to ask for help,
Yes.
the very thing you prayed for is going to be the very thing that destroys you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he was a baby, like, and my son's only 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
but I would feel guilty because when I felt, you okay, Bubba? Okay, you all right. He's all right. He's all right. When I was an older mom. I got pregnant at 43, had him at 44. I married late, and so I had to pray, and fast, and God,
Mm-hmm.
please let me get pregnant. Please let me get pregnant because my husband's younger. So he was
Mm-hmm.
like, what we doing? What we doing?
Right.
And so because of that, because of the fact that I had to pray and fast, I would feel bad if I felt overwhelmed. I would feel bad if I was tired, or if I was overly, like, just stop touching me. Like, just,
Mm-hmm.
you went from somebody who lived by herself and moved by herself. And so I wasn't used to always being touched, always being, have somebody pull on
Right.
my shirt or pull on my leg. And so for me, there were times when I would be like, yo, this is a lot. And as soon as I would say it, mom guilt or faith, something would be like, you can't say that. Because you prayed, remember, you asked God for this and you prayed for this. And so
Mm-hmm.
did you have those kind of moments where if you did say out loud, like, I'm overwhelmed or I'm tired, where you would feel like, oh, I said it out loud, I made a boo-boo?
You feel guilty.
Yeah.
You feel guilty. Yes, absolutely. I felt guilty about a lot of things. Like, I just need a break right now. It's like, these are your kids. Like, what do you mean you need a break, right? But where do we get that from, right? Society don't give moms a break, right? We have to be all things.
24/7,
Right.
365 days.
Exactly. We don't get breaks. We don't get to be sick. We don't get to be tired. But I've learned that we have to give ourselves permission, right? We take, when you become a mom, you take care of your kids, become your sole focus. That's your world, right? So much so that you forget about yourself. You forget about your wants, your needs, your dreams, the things you wanted, who you were prior to having a kid. All she disappears. You're a mom, but you're still an individual. You're still a human being. You're still a woman. You're still a person, right? You still have those desires. You're just a mom now. And why can't we be a mom and have that? So now, for me, self-care. I will say, any mom, I will say this to any mother: take care of you first, because you can't take care of your babies if you're not okay. And I learned that the hard way. You have to take care of yourself. So yeah, mom guilt, we get it, but you deserve rest, right? You deserve to take a break. Moms get overstimulated, right? Sometimes you don't want the babies touching you. I said it. I need a minute. I need 5 minutes, please, without somebody touching me, right? I don't want to talk.
Oh my God. I thought I was the only one who felt that way.
No, we get overstimulated, right? Everybody's touching you. They want to talk to you. Everybody needs your attention all at once. That is a lot. It can be overwhelming sometimes. Saying that does not make you a bad mother. That makes you human.
Say that part again for those in the back.
Say it out loud. I'm tired. I need somebody else to take this baby for a couple hours. Even if it's for 45 minutes, just let me breathe, right? There are times where I want to be in this house by myself in my pajamas and only have to worry about me. It's okay. It doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you human. It's okay. And you deserve to have that. We work a lot. We work hard. Don't get me started. If you got a man in your life, husband, boyfriend, whatever title you want to give him, you got the kids, you got work, all the things. Yeah, we get overstimulated. It's okay to say, I need a break. You should hopefully have someone in your village that you can call on and say, hey, today is not a good day. And could you give me at least 30 minutes? Because I need to breathe. Like, I feel like I'm everywhere all at once. That happens. Why? Because we're human. But we don't get to be human, which is why I say I had to give myself permission to be human, right? To not be perfect, to not have it together all the time, to not get it right all the time, right? The world is not going to come to an end because tonight my kids get pizza instead of a home cooked meal, right? The goal is to feed them, right?
Amen.
So pizza it is, and maybe tomorrow we'll do baked chicken with a vegetable and something else. But tonight, y'all gonna get this pizza.
And you're gonna enjoy it. Like, not only gonna get it, but you're gonna enjoy it. Like that, that part.
That part.
I tell people often, I say, I had my son April 19th, and I've been on ever since. Like, and like I had my first weekend like 2 weeks ago where I left. I actually went out of town. He went to his godmother's house for the weekend. And I got to just be treated. I didn't have to run up feeding nobody. I didn't have to be, I didn't have to be a wife. I didn't have to be a mom. I got to just be Trinice. And when you've been on, I got pregnant my very first year of marriage. And so, I've been on as a mom. I've been on as a wife. It felt good for those 4 days to literally just have to worry about me. Am I hungry? Right? Am I sleepy? Yes. Maybe I don't want to leave the house right now. It felt amazing. And so what I committed to myself was saying once a quarter, right? Because he's small, he's still young. So once a quarter, I'm going to do a me weekend. Where it's just whether I go to a hotel up the street for a weekend and he go to his godparents' house or he go with his daddy, whatever it may be. But one weekend a quarter is mine.
Yes.
Because I didn't realize how exhausted I was and how tired I was until I slept and was like, is this what this feels like, not to have somebody in bed with me who's 2 feet tall? Like, this is amazing.
Yes.
I remember carrying a pocketbook. Like, I remember having a purse. And not a whole book bag. Like, this is amazing. So it was those kinds of moments that I want moms to give themselves permission to say, I need a me day. Right? Whatever that me day is for you, take it. Like, whatever that looks like for you, because it's important. Like you said, you're only good to those around you by how good you are to yourself first. And I feel like the unachievable expectations that we put on ourselves, or that we've allowed somebody else to do, and we said, okay, I have to be on time. I am imperfectly perfect.
Yes.
I'm a flawed human being. I'm okay with that. But what you see is what you get. And I had to get, even in my motherhood, to a place where I stopped allowing the opinions of others to define how I mother, right? Because I promise you, I ain't never got so much advice in my life until I got pregnant. Well, don't. It's like a person will say, don't use this milk, and the person will say that's the best milk on the market, right? Or don't use those Pampers. Those are the best Pampers ever.
Yes.
And you find yourself being like,
yeah,
as a new mom, as a mom, a first time mom, you feel like it's just so much information,
yeah,
And so I had to be like, listen, what works for you may or may not work for me, and I'm okay with that.
absolutely.
Motherhood is not a one size fits
It's
all.
not.
You have to learn what works for you and your family and how it benefits your family, because it may not be the same as Mary down the street. Stop trying to be like Mary. Be like you.
Yeah. It's not what may work for someone else may not work for you, right? For me, it was not allowing my childhood traumas to define what motherhood was going to be for me, right? It was stop trying to be a mom based on the things I experienced as a child, because that's not going to be your children's journey. Did I have to heal? Absolutely, because had I not healed, what happens? It would have touched my kids, right? It would have been a cycle that repeated itself. So for me, it was not allowing my childhood and where I came from and my past to define, one, just who you are, right? And then two, who you are going to be as a mother, right? What motherhood is going to look like for you, because we grow up in environments where we develop behaviors and we have family norms. And when you step outside of that, everybody's looking at you like, why are you doing it that way, right? For me, so boundaries is a big thing for me. I allow my kids to have boundaries, right? So when I was a child, if we go into a family function and we walked into someone's house and an adult wanted to hug and kiss on you, if I didn't want to do it, I still had to do it. Not doing it was viewed as being disrespectful. I didn't do that to my kids, right? My child don't want to hug you, please don't hug them, right? Maybe they're not in the mood to hug. Right now, we're going to wave and say hi, right? Because that gives my children autonomy over their body, right? We let you know early, you have complete control over your body, who touches you, whether or not you allow somebody to touch you, whether you even allow somebody in your personal space. And it's not being disrespectful. Children have feelings too. I allow my children to express themselves respectfully, but you can express yourself, right? Because parents aren't always right either. Parents make mistakes and we do things that hurt our children. I need to know that so I can correct it, right? I'm also modeling for you what that looks like. So when you make a mistake and you do something, you will correct it.
Absolutely.
Growing up, that, when I was a child, kids were to be seen and not heard. Wasn't we weren't allowed to have problems. So boundaries was something we did early on with my kids were little. And I was like, yeah, okay. So if you don't want that person to touch you, you have the right to say no. We talked about a lot of things that wasn't talked about with me as a child. So definitely not allowing, I decided that I was going to determine the type of mother I wanted to be, right? And that I had to stop allowing my childhood trauma to define what that would look like. Because like I said before, I overcompensated for a lot of things and I had to learn to give myself permission to take just rest, right? Resting felt like I was being the laziest person in the world. It was just uncomfortable, right? I had to be doing something. I had to be fixing something or someone or rescuing someone. Like now, my favorite word is no. I don't have it.
Most powerful word.
Yes, ma'am. Period. That's it. With a period at the end. No. And how you feel about me saying no that's a personal problem for you. That's your business. It don't have nothing to do with me.
That part.
Not having boundaries had me stressed out. Trying to be everything for everyone had me stressed out. And like I said before, it affected me physically. It affected my health. I have an autoimmune disorder that I will have for the rest of my life because of trauma and stress. So at this stage in my life, I don't have the capacity. I have very little capacity for certain things. Boundaries is very important. Like I said, no, it's my favorite word. I will say no in a heartbeat.
It's funny you mentioned boundaries and giving your kids the permission to be like, no.
Yeah.
I am that way, and I promised myself that I would be that way with my son. If he does not want to hug you, he's not going to hug you.
Exactly.
Right? If he doesn't want to get, and I allow that to be the case even with me. If I say, he understands, give mommy a kiss, right? Give mommy a kiss, and I puck her up, and he'd be like,
right.
Like, lady, listen, I'm not in the mood for this. Then I'll go, okay. And I'll respect that right now he don't feel like it.
Right.
When he feels like it, he'll come right back to me and he'll give me a kiss. But I want him to know that this is his body. And because of some of the traumas that I've been through in my childhood, I am big on boundaries, especially space boundaries, touch boundaries. And I want him to be empowered. And this is probably a whole other podcast, but I want him to be empowered to say no,
Right.
especially as a boy, right? Because I feel like boys get like oh, you a boy, you can handle it. No, no. So we're a little over our time. So in closing, is there anything that you want to tell the mom that's at home? She's tired. She's wore out. She doesn't really have a strong village. Maybe her husband or her partner moved to a new town. She doesn't really know anybody. Is there anything you want to tell her or leave with her that will encourage her to A, keep going, and B, to know that it's okay to be imperfectly perfect?
Yes, I would say first and foremost, you don't have to be perfect, right? The goal as a mom is not to be perfect. It is to be present. It is to love your children. Children don't expect us to be perfect, right? They just want our love and they want us to care for them. Again, you come first, right? Maybe she doesn't have the village that most people have, but even if it looks like taking the first 30 minutes in your morning for you, right? Carve out some time for yourself. That first, but before the kids get up, right? Maybe you get up 30 minutes earlier and you take that 30 minutes and you sit with yourself, you be mindful, you check in with yourself, you journal, you read, have something specifically for you that has absolutely nothing to do with your kids, that has nothing to do with your significant other. It's all about you, right? You need that helps you be a better partner, a better mom. Taking care of others, including your children, to the exclusion of yourself is not healthy. So please, we need to give ourselves permission not to do that, right? And I would say try to build a village. Sometimes the village isn't your family, right? So for whatever reason, it may not be your family, but you may have friends around you who, if you simply reach out, they may be willing to help. But because we have an issue with asking for help, we suffer in silence, right? We need to let go of that suffering in silence. So I would say to her, look at the people around you, right? Look at your resources around you. Who can you ask for help, right? How can you go about building your village? And, tag your partner. It's your turn, right? Because we do that too. We take on all the things and, the partner is there, but we don't tell them either. We expect them to read our minds. Nope, tag, you're it. I need 30 minutes and you need to get your kids because I'm tired, right?
The get your kid part is funny to me.
Hello. Because it's your turn. We could do that. I think as moms, we suffer in silence a lot because it's seen as a badge of honor. Oh, she's such a great mom because she's handling everything while she's dying on the inside, right? Or you see the mom who's literally saying, I don't got this. But everybody's like, oh, you're going to be okay. No, she's not, because she said, I don't got this, right? So be vocal about what your needs are. Closed mouths don't get fed.
That was all very yummy to me. And I want to say thank you so much for coming. Please know I'm going to have you back.
Okay.
I mean, just be prepared for an email or like, hey, how you doing? I need you again. Because, you have so much knowledge. And I want to really tap into the the foster care system and motherhood, right?
Okay.
And what that looks like. Because
Yeah.
a lot of teens are pregnant in
Absolutely.
foster care.
Yes, they are.
How do they break the cycle and not be who their mom was to them? And so I'm going to actually send you an email probably tomorrow so I can get a rotation. Because I think that that's something that mothers need to know. Like, how do I break the cycle? If my mom wasn't the best mom for me, how can I ensure, first, how do I forgive, right? To get past that place. And then what are my steps next so that I don't repeat the cycle? Right. So please look at your calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
And, see what Friday or Saturday you have available in the month of April. Because I'm in April for taping. And to those that are watching, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Make sure you're following us on social media. We have a private Facebook group called Dear Mom, You Got This Podcast. It's a private mom group. You have to request to be in the group. It's your safe place. It's where you can go and say, I don't have it today, or today is a bad day. And your tribe of sisters is what I'm calling it. Your tribe, we will come in and we will encourage you. So make sure you join our group. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, which is Mommies Matter 2. And we're on, I think it's called Threads. I have provided all of Taisha's contact information if you're looking for somebody, a clinical. You said you're out of Florida, correct?
I'm in Florida, yes.
Okay, so are you licensed only in Florida?
Right now, I'm only licensed in Florida, but I'm working on getting licensed in other places too.
Well, listen, if you in Florida and you need somebody, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I'm going to point toward the screen. You let it do what it do. But are you taking new clients right now?
Yes.
I didn't.
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
about to launch my private practice. It will be part-time and the focus is on women. So single moms, feel free. I'm actually getting paneled with a couple of insurance companies right now. So I'm going to do a soft launch on social media once I get up and running, but I'm hoping to have it up and running by mid-April.
So I'm going to make sure that right now I put your Facebook back up so they can tag you and follow you and kind of stay in the loop with that. And then I'm going to wait the next 14 seconds. Actually, I'm going to hide this one there and I'm going to put your Instagram up as well.
Okay.
You guys follow so that you'll know when she's open if you're in Florida, because there is support. There is a community that has your back. And I don't care who has not told you that, hey, mom, guess what? You freaking rock. You are awesome. You are slaying this thing called mommyhood. You are doing it and you are doing it well and you make it look good and easy. So keep doing what you're doing. If you need the help, put it out in the atmosphere. You don't have to suffer in silence. There is somebody listening that will take you by hand and go, what could I do to make this journey easy for you? So I thank you all for watching. We'll be here next Wednesday. You all have an amazing evening. Again, thank you so much. I'm grateful for you coming on. You all have a good one. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.